we got all of our food again. So yeah, this is pretty much how welcome back to another Roblox Studio tutorial. Today we're going to be making a tool save system where it can save the player's tools and items, etc. So we made like about two data store tutorials, but those are strictly about like saving points or currencies or basically leader stats. So how do you actually save like physical items such as tools? Now the key to that is actually you don't actually save the item, but rather you save a name for the item, and then when the player joins back again, we get the names from the player, from the player's key, and then we search for the game for these items and we give it to the player. That's basically how we're going to do it. Now we're going to combine this with the previous tutorial we just made about the shop system. So we're going to combine the two a bit, but we're going to still be focusing more on like the actual tool saving system. But we're going to combine this with also like the coin currency system. That's very simple, so no worries. But if you, because you're most likely going to be using a currency system that also saves, so we're going to combine the two. And we're gonna go on service, insert a script, and this is gonna be our main script for pretty much the entire tutorial. So let's call this data because we're gonna also save like other stuff like the coins, etc., or whatever you want to put, like points. Anyways, so let's make a data store. So let's get the data store service. So local data store service. Let's do DS for short. This game get server game get service data store service. Then let's make a data store. So data equals data store service get data store, and then we can name this anything. Just call this data. I mean, that's probably a bad name. Usually kind of want to make it a bit special. I'm not sure why, but it's not that big of a deal. You can just make it something else like stats or whatever. Doesn't really matter that much. Now let's make a player added event. So this happens whenever a player joins the game. So game dot players dot player added. That's when a player joins the game. Connect function. We connect this to a function, and we put brackets, and this will be our parameter. And in here we put the player. The player is the player that joined the server. Okay, so this is our event. Now we're gonna do what we're actually gonna do. Cause we're gonna start with the actual tool saving system. Now you know when you get a tool. Now let's say actually should we make this a bit more simpler? Let's just go to use a toolbox just really quick, just for now at least. Or not my models. Okay, let's use anything. So like, I don't know, what can we use? Like we can use like a sword or something. So we can use like this sword. Okay, I know this is bad, but is this this is locked first of all. This is locked. Let's unlock this. Why is this? Okay. This is bad. Okay, so like this is a sword. Okay, I know these are really bad. I don't know, we can just put anything to be honest. Like we can put hamburger, I guess. And right here. Then another thing you can add is probably like a gun maybe. Attention machine gun. Okay, that's probably a bad idea. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. And maybe like a rocket launcher. But you get the idea. We're just putting some random items here. Okay. So let's say a player can grab these items or these are probably like the items you can buy in the shop. So of course, when you buy them in the shop, you kind of want to keep them in your inventory. So when the player leaves and joins again, they also find it in their inventory. So when a player grabs, okay, I'm going to play right now. When a player grabs these items, it appears in their backpack. So the backpack is basically whatever happens, or you see in the bottom. So you can't really see right now, but when you grab one of these, oh, one of them disappeared. That's weird. So
Hamburger.
okay, so yeah, that was
Hamburger.
okay. Anyways, so this is basically the backpack. Okay, that kind of, oh yeah, that's broken. That's definitely broken. Yeah, so usually it's not the best idea to get some random free models. from the, yep, that's what but yeah, so this is our backpack right here. So if I go to the player right here, and so this is me, this is our backpack, and we have all the items. And the reason why we can't see the sword is because I'm equipping it right now. So I have it equipped, and it actually appears under my character, not my backpack. It is kind of weird, but because we have this connected to our character, it is part of our character. So right here, class swords are actually part of our character, and meanwhile our other stuff are part of our backpack because we don't have it equipped. And yeah, that's how it works. So usually when we want to save it, we want to go through the backpack. So we want to unequip this, then go through all the items on our backpack, and then put the names of these items into a data store. And this data store, we can use it again when the player joins, and we can find these items in the game again and then give it to the player. So basically, this is how the data store is supposed to work for the tool system. And there is also starter gear. Starter gear is whatever. Now, people kind of got confused in previous tutorials about the starter gear. Now, when you put a thing in starter gear, this doesn't appear in our actual backpack, but when it is here, for example, when it is in the starter gear, when any tool is in the starter gear, you get it after you reset, so it stays permanently for your player. Actually, oh, okay, that didn't work because I think I did it in the client, but whatever. So whenever you put something here in the server, at least in the server, it stays with our player permanently. So if you want that to happen, make sure you parent it both in the backpack and in the starter gear. Starter gear, basically, you get it every time you reset, right? And yeah. So, okay, now these two didn't work as well. I'm not sure why. Is this can be grabbed manual activation? It might be because it can be anchored, obviously. Okay, and this is pretty much broken, yeah. So forget about this. This is just an explanation of how the backpack, the inventory system, the default inventory system on Roblox works. Anyways, so let's continue our script. So now we're gonna do what we're gonna do. Okay, we're not gonna really make a folder. We're gonna do that later, but we're just gonna make a variable. So local save wins, not saved wins, but saved items. So this is gonna be all the items that were saved from the last game the player left, or last server the player left. And we're gonna set this to the data store get a sync. So data get a sync. So this is when it gets the saved items from the player from the last time the player played the game. If that makes any sense, I don't know. And then we're going to use the player's key, which is player user ID, and then we can concatenate with this a string. So we're going to do item. It can be anything actually, as long as it matches when it or whatever. I'm going to explain later. But this is basically a key you want to give to the player whenever you want to save something. So this is the default key, player.user ID. Then we concatenate this with a string, which is item, because that's what we're trying to save. We want to save items, but you can really name this anything. So if you want to save coins, you can name this like 2 coins, for example. You can name this to coins, just so we know we're saving coins in this particular thing. Whatever. Well, that's all. That's when we get the items. That's when we get the saved values when a player joins the game. Okay, so we want to know if the player actually has saved items. So we'll do if saved items, then. So sometimes the player could be playing for the first time, so saved items would be nil. That means the player doesn't have any saved items from the last time the player played the game. Alright, so saved items. Then we loop through all the players. Now, actually, saved items technically is a table. We're going to save it as a table because saved items is not just one item. It's a list of all the items. So we are going to store it in a table, basically a list. So we're going to loop through that list. So for I saved, actually no, for saved items. So for items, to keep it simple, in pairs saved item, because that's a table that we just got from the data store. And we're gonna do, okay, so this is when we want to look for the tool in the game. So usually we have a folder in replicated storage, got a folder, and we have all of our tools in this folder. So let's go to tools, let me put like some of our stuff here. So let's put all this stuff here inside, put this in here. And then we can use this tool right, this folder right here. So actually, make a variable. So local tools folder equal game that locally stored tools. We're gonna use this so we can check which tool the player has saved. So for our tools for some reason. Oh, okay. So this is variable. Sorry. In pairs and then tools folder. Okay. I'm kind of rusty right now. I don't know why. And get children because that's just the folder. So you want to get all the children here and do. So you want to check which one the player has saved. So we're going to do if item, which is the item name that the player saved from the last game. And then you want to check if the name matches one of these names. And if they do, we're going to put each of these, or we're going to, if they match, right, if the player has one of these tools saved, we're going to clone one of these, whichever the player has saved, and then we're going to clone it and put it in the player's backpack, basically. And we can also put in a starter gear if you want. If item equals tool.name, which is the physical tool in the folder, then we're going to do item clone, so tool clone, or do local tool clone, local tool clone. We'll do tool clone 1 equals tool clone clone 1 dot parent equals player dot backpack. So that will only happen, that will only occur once. So if we can put the tool in the player's backpack, but if the player dies, it will disappear. So if you want it to stay permanently, you also want to put it in the starter gear. So make another tool clone. So local tool clone 2 equals tool clone 2 dot parent equals player dot starter gear. Player dot starter gear. All right. So this won't actually appear in the player's backpack, and just there to know to tell, well, this player has this tool in their starter gear, meaning it'll, I don't know how to explain it, but basically you'll still need to put the tool in the player's backpack. And if you want the tool to stay in the player well, I guess in the player's backpack permanently, even after the player resets, you also want to put it in the starter gear. Basically, that's how it works. And yeah, that should be it. So for tool save, just kind of make this a bit more organized. All right, that's good enough. All right, boom, bada bam. All right, now let's do the event for when the player leaves. So when the player leaves, we want to get all the players' tools or items, and we want to put them into a table, and then that table we want to save it into the player's key. So game the player removing, that's when player is leaving the game. Connect function, also player as a parameter. Okay, now first, before we do anything, remember how I said that sometimes the player can have something equipped, and if it does have something equipped, it will actually be parented under the player's character and not the backpack. So if you want to loop through all the player's items inside their backpack, we also want the player to not have anything equipped, because we want to search every single item, and every single item has to be in their backpack. So we want to unequip. We want to make that player unequip all the tools first. So we'll do, actually, because we need to access the character, we'll do player dot character, I think character removing. Yeah, so that's when the character is removing. That happens before hold on, man. Yeah, you want to put, so that's another event inside the player removing event. And then we can do connect function. So local humanoid, because that's what we'll be using. And actually, oh, I forgot, the parameter should be the character. So character that is being removed. So car dot humanoid. So humanoid, and then that's use unequipped tools. Unequipped tools. All right. Actually, that's very simple. You just want the player to unequip the tools, so we can have all the player's tools inside their backpack. And then after that, we can search their backpack for all the items they have owned. So we'll do Actually, we should do a pcall function because we do need to save it after all. So local success suck air equal, that's a short pcall function. And then we'll first loop for item, so the item that the player has, and pairs player.backpack, get children, so all the items player has in the backpack do. And then reduce table, actually, okay. And after this, just make a table, so local saved items equals this empty table. That's what a table is. Then in that table, we'll insert all the items, or the item. We're not gonna insert the items, but the item names that the player owns. And then you're gonna use this table to save in the data store. So we'll do. Actually, I only need like one line here. So table insert table dot insert, and then saved items. That's the table that I want to insert in, and the item name. Item.name. We can't really insert the item because we only can save values, and we can only really save values inside data stores. So we can't actually save the physical object value, which are the tools or instances basically. All right. So now when we loop through all the player items, players tools, and we insert all the players tools inside this table, was really only the player items names, if that makes any sense. We're gonna actually use the data set async. So data set async player.useID same key open player.user ID, and then dot items again, that's the same key items. That's the same key we used over here. And then you want to the second parameter is for the actual thing you want to save, which is the saved items table that we got from putting all the items that the player has inside the table while we're looping. Okay, so we'll put this in a yeah. I think that should be it. Actually, let's see. All right, that looks cool. So I think that should be it. Let's see if this works. Now, we're gonna just test it out real quick. So I have the tools folder. I'm gonna just duplicate this. So put this inside the workspace too. Then it's gonna have like one. We're gonna like collect one of these, and let's see how this works. So let's hopefully this is not gives us an error off the bat. Okay, so now before we use data stores, make sure you publish it to Roblox first of all. Make sure you publish to Roblox. So tools save. Oh. And then when you save it to Roblox, you probably need to publish it actually. Okay, oh my god, it's gonna take forever. Should have done this earlier. Okay, so now when we publish, hold a second, I think it's already published though. All right, so game settings, security, allow API services. I think that should be it. API services, make sure you allow API services in your game, which is basically a data store. Data store is also an API service on Roblox. So let's actually play the game. Let's see how this works. So we're gonna get one item. So we're gonna get this sword, and let's see if it actually saves when we leave and join back. So we're gonna stop. Let's see, there's no error so far. Let's see if this works again. Boom, it's saved in our inventory. So yeah, that's how it pretty much works. Now, if you want to put maintain this or implement the shop system that I made in the previous tutorial with this, so what you can do is go to, did I make this a model? I didn't. I don't think I made this into a model. Basically, you can copy this script. So this is very simple. So this is the previous tutorial. This is the shop system. All I did is I also saved the coins with it. That's pretty much it, and also the actual shop I made. So we just made a leader stats coins. That's how we only save the coins. So we did pretty much the same thing. Data get a sync, and then set a sync when the player leaves. And that's basically data store for only the coins value. That's the only extra thing I really did, and then I just put that in the leader stats folder. But yeah, in this case we only did the tools, and we pretty much saved all the tools inside a table, and we saved the table as name values or as string value because the names are strings. So what we can do, we can put the same exact thing right here, just saved items. Now we do want to change a bit, so in this case, so what we can do here is we did the saved items. Saved items is if the player has any saved items from the last time they played. Tools folder, we're gonna change the tools folder variable. Local tools folder will game.replicated storage .food because we made a shop system on food, so it's right here as you can see. So instead of weapons or tools or whatever, we put food and have all different types of foods. Pizza, hot dog, hamburger. That's our tool folder, basically. Our tool folder. Essentially that's what it is. So instead it's just our food, and that's pretty much it. Use the same thing. Now let's use the set async. So we actually already have the pcall function. We'll use the character removing event 2 right here after the playing removing event, and then we'll also use the table and a loop we use for the table, and the data set async, or the loop that we use to put stuff in the table, put the item names in the table, and then we can put this inside the pcall function like this easily. And I think that should be it. Should be pretty simple. Let's see if this works with our items from the shop system tutorial. Let's see, hopefully it doesn't give us a random error. Okay, so it works. Actually, this is from last time. Hamburger. Oh, so, anyway, so let's say we buy some stuff. So let's say we buy, this is wacky. All right, so let's say we buy pizza. No, not for pizza. So taco or hot dog. Okay, so I have a taco, hot dog, hamburger. So let's leave the game, and then we're gonna also play it again. We got all of our food again. So yeah, this is pretty much how this tool system works. Tool save system, tool data store, whatever you may call it. If you enjoyed this video, definitely be sure to like and subscribe because that helps a lot and makes me make more videos. If you have a good suggestion, make sure to leave it down in the comments below. And if you want to join our Discord, be sure to join it. If you have any questions too, you might also want to join it. But yeah, definitely make sure to subscribe though. That helps a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. So see you guys.